Five Nights at Freddy's has presented us with countless iconic locations over the years. I've covered a few of these in videos, such as Murray's Costume Manor, the sister location Bunker, the ruined Pizzaplex, and even a whole video specifically on every version of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. In today's video, I want to take a bit of a detour and explore a non-mainline game from the series. FNAF Into the Pit is one of the most unique entries in this series' catalog of games, and its intriguing, frightening, and highly detailed environments are a major part of that. Without further delay, it's time to take a dive into the pit. Okay, that one was very predictable. I'll try not to make any more jokes about jumping into the pit, but no promises. Anyways, let's begin. As I said before, Into the Pit is very unique with its locations, and there's a variety of reasons for this. We'll get into said reasons as we explore each area of the game. What better place to start our journey than at the very start of the game? While not technically a playable, explorable area, the town that Oswald lives in does paint a picture and set a tone for the game. Westbrook, as I will be calling it based on the school's name, is a very quiet town. As we ride in the car, notice how there's no one else. No other cars, no people on the sidewalk, nothing. Combined with the orange glow of the morning sunrise, this scene is a bit eerie. The empty and abandoned feeling is pushed farther when the car is stopped at the red light. They stop, coincidentally, in front of an old, long abandoned pizza place. Here we see tons of graffiti covering the walls of the buildings. Not just that, the establishments that have long since been abandoned are boarded up and in pretty bad shape. The windows of these buildings are also broken pretty badly, implying that the town has really been left to rot for a long time. A few other things I want to point out here come from the environment around the abandoned buildings. Firstly, and most obvious as the game makes a big point out of it, the dead possum. It's yet another detail that shows that this town is no longer cared for, that the people who once lived here have left the place to rot. One standout aspect of this game, which I'll get more in depth with later, is the pixel graphics of it. The reason I bring it up now is because of this shot of the possum. It's just roadkill, but something about it is so creepy, and I think that the unique art style of the game helps with that effect. The final detail about this scene I'd like to mention are these two dead trees hidden in the back of the scene. We only see this for a few brief seconds, so a detail like this is very easy to miss. Remember that it's August according to the calendar in Oswald's house. That's near the peak of summer, so it's not like it's the middle of winter or even fall. They give an ominous feel to the rotting town. Even the trees are dead, along with the businesses around them. The next place we arrive in the game is none other than Jeff's Pizza. Its appearance matches that of the town, dead, abandoned, and rotting. The outside of the building has rips in the covers and cracks in the walls. The whole thing just looks very dirty, again enhanced by the limitations that come with pixelated graphics. Entering the building is no different. The whole building features dirty, rotting, and decaying floors. There's stains everywhere. Clearly, the building hasn't been properly cared for in a long time. This is further supported by the walls. They're cracked almost everywhere, and the checkered pattern that once lined the walls is heavily faded. Once we get to Freddy's Pizzeria, I'll show you both side by side and you'll see just how different the buildings are. Moving on to more room-specific details, the lobby has a fading menu, a poster that is struggling to stay on the wall, and another poster for a county fair from 3 years ago. Again, every detail of this place screams abandoned and forgotten. The dining area is no different. Aside from the stains and decaying walls, which we see everywhere in the building, the decor choices are questionable. There's a ton of completely empty frames lining the walls, making the room feel a bit bare. The posters here are at least in good shape. The whole thing just feels like a very generic pizza place, with the checkered tablecloths and plain wooden chairs. Being generic isn't necessarily a bad thing though. The place does feel quite warm and inviting, even despite the questionable cleanliness of the building. I think the lighting does really help with that feeling. It's warm, and honestly, eating here probably wouldn't be so bad. Unfortunately, throughout every visit to the building, you may notice that it's pretty dead. There's always only one or two tables filled, and I don't know how Jeff is even managing to stay in business like that. Moving towards the back of the room, you'll notice an empty stage, along with an old rotting curtain behind it. Even Oswald says that he's never seen the stage used once. This room is the first spot the game puts you in besides the opening driving cutscene, and it acts as a really solid starting room. It's warm and inviting, but it's got a few details that stand out as odd or creepy. Moving behind the curtains of the stage, we enter an area that's even more forgotten than the rest of Jeff's. Immediately, the green glow of the lighting is a contrast from elsewhere in the building, making the room more dark and mysterious. The cobwebs and old boxes on the otherwise empty shelves, along with the puddles of water on the ground, indicate that this part of the building has been left essentially untouched for quite a significant amount of time. Here we can also find one of the items left from the Fazbear era of the building, Bonnie's broken guitar. Along with that are some leftover chairs from the 80s. The other room in this part of the building is the basement, and it's creepy. Here you can find more Fazbear relics, most prominently some arcade machines. Mainly due to the complete lack of light, this room could very well be the scariest within Jeff's version of the pizza place. It's also a good point to talk about the flashlight in this game. Now, FNAF and flashlights are no strangers to each other, with FNAF 2, 4, Sister Location, Pizza Sim, Ultimate Custom Night, Help Wanted, Security Breach, Ruin, Help Wanted 2, and of course, Into the Pit featuring some form of this tool. Did I need to list them all out? Probably not, but I did anyways because, who's gonna stop me? Point is, the mechanic has been done plenty of times in the series, so how does this iteration compare? Well, it's a simple version of it, and honestly isn't used a whole lot in the game. I do, however, love the way that it looks in the game. The light that comes from it is very bright. It looks almost white in the darkness of the basement. The contrast is so stark, and makes things that you reveal with it stand out greatly. It does add to the creepiness of those dark areas, even if there's very few of them throughout the game. Jumping to the other side of Jeff's, we have his version of the arcade. It feels more abandoned and forgotten than the rest of the building. This feeling mainly comes from the husks of metal that were once fun arcade games. As you'll see in a bit, it's a very stark contrast from Freddy's arcade. The old party hats on the floor are a reminder of the panic during the last time the room was in use during the MCI. The wallpaper towards the storage room door is also tearing completely off here, more so than anywhere else in the building. Up above, old party decorations can be seen, now rotted and ruined from all the years of being left here. Overall, the arcade is just completely dead, and it's clear that no one ever goes back there anymore. The next room off of the arcade is the storage room, but honestly, there's not too much to say here. It's a pretty standard storage room, with shelves containing supplies, some old TV monitors, and some random boxes of unknown things. The main item of interest here is a single poster for Fredbear's Sing and Show. As you'll see when we get to Freddy's, this is a different poster from what was there in the past. In fact, there's another big change in this room that will become very obvious once we dive into the pit and explore Freddy's Pizzeria. For now though, let's move to the security office. You only get to come in here on night 5, and there's really not a whole lot going on. The room is rotting like the rest of the building, with posters decaying off the wall. One thing to note is some strange markings on the wall. These are of course from the time of Freddy's, which I promise we're almost to. Besides that, the room is just generally messy, and we can even see the ever popular fan here as well. We have just 3 more rooms to cover, the first being the party hallway. It's clear that this hallway has gone almost untouched since the tragic event that is the MCI, as all of Freddy's decor remains. Still, the room has decayed like everything else around it. The posters and drawings are rotting away, while some other items have fallen down entirely, like this pizza decoration. One major thing to keep note of here is the presents. Take a look at how many there are now and the color of them, and remember that when we get to Freddy's. Here we can also find some more chairs left over from the old location, and even some tables too. There are some cobwebs here and there, further showing how forgotten this part of the building has become. There's also a sealed off room here, one that we will only be able to access in the past. Connected to this room is the kitchen, and it's just a kitchen, nothing more. There's nothing interesting to even say about it. The final room to cover in Jeff's is none other than the iconic ball pit room. Sorry to surprise you, but guess what? It's rotting and decaying like the rest of the building. I know, crazy. There are some important things to point out though. The first being the faded mural of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. Since you have to come to this room before ever seeing the old location, this acts as a really solid hint for what's to come, if you didn't already know when getting the game. Elsewhere, the room is messy, with ball pit balls scattered about, trash and boxes lining the walls, and old party supplies left behind from what once was. The flickering green glow above is ominous, different from the rest of the building. Its faint flashes of light feel like a warning, like the room is haunted in some way. If you think about it, it kind of is. The main attraction itself, the pit, is old and decrepit. Cracks race along its exterior, and you know it's seen better days. The thing that stands out to me the most is the do not use sign. Its makeshift nature is telling of how rushed someone was to seal it off. It makes me think that someone before you knew of the horrors within, but no one else believed them. The same thing that will happen to Oswald throughout the game. Overall, Jeff's Pizza is one of my personal favorite environments throughout the whole series. It's unique because of the fact that it was once a Freddy's, and although those days have long since passed, the memories of the location remain through various items. The lighting of the building is also done very well. From the welcoming glow of the dining hall to the pitch black dark of the basement, it features a good variety and sets the mood of the different rooms. Even though there's only one night where you're truly in danger while at Jeff's, the environments and lighting always give that sense of unease, and that is why I love this location so much. With Jeff's done, we still have to, well, something about the pit. Anyways, on to Freddy's, or into Freddy's? I don't know, let's go. Entering Freddy Fazbear's Pizza feels completely different from Jeff's. The moment you enter, you're hit with a rush of sounds, music, and voices. More importantly, however, you're hit with a wave of color. The room is far brighter and more vibrant than anything within Jeff's, and it makes sense. You're here at this location during its prime. The walls that were faded in Jeff's are brought to life here, the mural now fully visible, and even with some clouds and the sun. The checkered pattern, which you see remnants of in Jeff's, are in full force here. The lighting is also far more vibrant, replacing that ominous green glow with a warmer yellow. Moving into the dining area shows even more of this stark difference between Freddy's and Jeff's. The room is lively, with the stage actually getting used by the main stars of the show. It's got colorful spotlights all around, and features some clouds and a sun behind the animatronics, much like FNAF 1 does. The walls of the location are also in far better shape than Jeff's, with that iconic checkered pattern that Freddy's is known for across the series still being vibrant and clear. The decor itself is far less generic as well, with basically everything being Fazbear themed. The walls have a big poster with the band, and some pizza decor lines them too. The tables follow, with some unique confetti designs on the tablecloths and fancy chairs to really sell the whole thing. Everything is themed for the place, making it a whole lot more alive and colorful than Jeff's. The room is still dirty, of course, but it's not the abandoned and left to rot kind of dirty. It's the heavily used and loved kind of dirty. I hope that makes sense. Moving away from the stage, we can also find Pirate's Cove, which is completely absent in Jeff's, with no sign that it was once here. Foxy is not here, which is a real shame, but at least he's mentioned. One more detail in this room that I love is the rules for safety poster. It's more so an Easter egg, one of many in this game, but I love its inclusion. Fun fact, the text is fully accurate to the FNAF 1 version of the poster. It's true, look at them side by side. Isn't that cool? The next room is the entrance, and yet again it's a stark contrast to Jeff's. Here we see seemingly the exact same menu seen in Jeff's, showing that he never really changed it after taking over. The room has many details in it: neon lights, the present, the hanging stars, the cutout of Freddy, and the decorated party tables. which all lead to a very welcoming feel to the room. Jeff's isn't scary or anything, but it's far less welcoming than this is. It's interesting because Freddy's is often portrayed as a low budget, low effort family restaurant, but in this game specifically, the place seems very well put together. The next room to cover is the arcade, and it's such a vibe. The neon lights, the flashing arcade cabinets, and the full prize machine all come together to create a charming arcade that really looks like it would be an awesome place to be. The prize machine is an interesting choice though, as Fazbear Entertainment is more known for prize counters instead. It does still feature a few fun Easter eggs, such as exotic butters, and that plant thing from FNAF World. The tone of Freddy shifts dramatically when entering the next room, storage. Here we start to see the past of Freddy's with posters from a certain Fredbear's family diner. Fake presents and other props along with chairs lie dormant in the still room. A pile of monitors, which connects this room to Jeff's, is also back here. The main obvious centerpiece of the room is no doubt the lifeless golden Freddy suit just sitting there. Compare the room to Jeff's, which fills the space with shelves. It also replaces these two Fredbear's posters with one poster for Fredbear's Sing and Show, which is a very strange change between the two. The last thing to note in the room is the calendar near the empty suit. It sets the time, which is very rare for Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I'd love to explore the rest of Freddy's during its prime. As you may know though, this isn't exactly possible. Yeah, so there's actually 3 versions of Freddy's in this game. Isn't that crazy? That's kind of why I love Into the Pit so much. Actually getting to see a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza during its prime is so rare in this series. And honestly, it's such a shame. That's why I loved the intro to the second movie, or the intro to Security Breach. Seeing an actual functioning location is just so cool. Let's talk about the final version of Freddy's we see in this game, what I'm calling the post-MCI Freddy's. I know it rolls right off the tongue. This iteration of the building is dark and twisted. Most of the rooms we just saw, including the arcade and entrance, are pretty much unchanged here. What does change quite a bit is everywhere else. Starting with the dining hall, the lighting has shifted from being bright and vibrant to an ominous shade of deep blue. It actually reminds me quite a lot of the FNAF 1 version of Freddy's. For some reason, the camera shots in that game are also very blue. Whether they did this on purpose as a reference or just because it makes the area more creepy is anyone's guess. The room itself is quite destroyed from the incident, with tables completely broken, while some still remain with abandoned plates from scared customers. There's also a moment here where the animatronics will be on stage malfunctioning, which is just truly chilling. These are the kind of moments I love in FNAF games, and the lighting and environment around here help aid the uneasy feeling this scene is giving off. The next rooms are backstage and the basement. Backstage is about what you'd expect in a place like this. Spare parts, endos, and props are scattered about. Yet again, the ominous blue lighting makes these bare endos very creepy in the dark. I think this is one of the areas that benefits the most from the unique art style of the game. The pixelated sprites of the parts and endos are just really unsettling, in a way that FNAF has not quite been able to achieve since its early games. The basement is once again pitch black, with the flashlight being the only source of light. The room is more the same, with parts and even a suit back here. Along with the old parts, these shelves contain masks and toys. Next to the shelves are 2 arcade machines. Even here, they seem long abandoned, unusual for this game's iteration of Freddy's. Jumping to the security office, it actually looks like one, unlike in Jeff's. Here we see the monitors that are outlined by stains on Jeff's wall. The room is the brightest in all of Freddy's, although it's ultimately not that safe. There's no way out other than the door, and there's no hiding spot either. Other things in the room include references to other Fazbear's Fright stories, including Room for One More and whatever this thing is. I know he's from the books, I don't know what his name is though. While we're here, the kitchen is yet again just a kitchen. Sorry for skipping over it, I just really don't have anything to say. The ball pit room is also in the area, and besides being significantly darker than when you first enter Freddy's, nothing is too different. The last 2 rooms left to cover are the party hallway and party room. Well, technically there's one more, we'll get there in a minute. The hall is in complete chaos, with more broken tables, presents knocked over, and banners and decor off the wall. Obviously, it was abandoned very suddenly with the whole MCI situation that just occurred, so it's not a surprise that it's so messy. Still, the remains of a great party that once was can be seen. The room, much like the rest of the building, is lit in a dim blue. Besides the obvious fact that this room is likely where the MCI kids were taken from, there's nothing too significant. There are some fun details here though. The Celebrate poster is the main one, a recreation of the iconic poster from the FNAF 1 office. It's cool to see here. Another just silly detail is this other poster. I mean, look at it. Freddy with the basketball is just really funny to me. Entering the party room itself, it's similar to the hallway. Chairs are tipped over and decorations are covering the floor. Noticeably absent is any trace of the kids that were lured to the room. The stark green light is also fairly unique to this room. Balloons are also around in high abundance, some cute ones too, like this Bonnie one. There is one more room in this building. Hidden somewhere lies this workshop. It's filled with endo parts, tools, and something else. A toy plane, I wonder where that's from. Anyways, this room was clearly made with a very specific purpose in mind. There's plenty of ropes and chains hanging from the wall as well. The room's door is connected to the arcade, but it's hidden behind the prize machine. Stains cover the floor and walls, much like the rest of the building. There are other environments in this game, such as Oswald's house, the mill, and the school, but these ultimately don't have too much going on with them. The main thing is that these are all very rundown and decaying, much like the rest of the town. I had actually gone through and wrote down some notes for these places, but I think this video is long enough, and ultimately they're not super important locations. With that, we reach the end of today's video. Remember to like the video, comment what you want to see next, and subscribe for more FNAF videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, superstars.